Leadership isn't just changing, it's evolving in ways we're only just beginning to imagine. And women, we're not playing this game anymore. We're the ones reshaping the entire field, building models, movements, and businesses that serve more than just a few. On the She Leads podcast, you'll hear real conversations with women who've broken through all kinds of barriers: revenue, identity, borders, and expectations. There's no sugarcoating here, just the truth, told by those who are living it. I'm Adrienne Garland, entrepreneur, strategist, educator, and creator of live experiences, gathering women leaders together for over a decade. And this is the She Leads podcast. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the She Leads podcast. Today, I'm delighted to introduce you to Rebekah Jenkins, CEO and founder of Beks Media, a blockchain-focused creative agency. But she is so much more than that. Rebekah is a digital strategist, entrepreneur, and Web3 enthusiast who expertly navigates across psychology, business, and innovation. She's also a former D1 tennis player and national award-winning coach. She brings her global insight from her experience as a startup co-founder in Crypto Valley, her BS in psychology, and her position as a senator in the Senate of Economy International. Now, Rebekah helps entrepreneurs scale to $10,000 months and beyond through her consulting firm and signature course that's focused on AI, video, and community. Let's all give Rebekah a big round of applause for just completing her MBA degree from the prestigious Rice University. She completed all of her coursework while living all over the world. I cannot wait to dive into everything with you, my friend, my student, Rebekah.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Is a mouthful, I'm sure. It's like, I feel like I've lived 10 lifetimes in a very
and you're 20 now. Yeah,
32,
I mean
32.
32. And listen, let's claim that. And I mean, that is such an incredible accomplishment. And you do everything with such grace and so much fun and energetic spirit. So I want to talk to you about so much because you not only embarked upon your MBA, but you also went abroad to do so. So can you kind of tell us a little bit about what your background is and why you even chose to get an MBA from Rice in the first place?
Yeah, that's a great question to kind of kick things off, because I had a very different background than what I'm doing currently in my career. I was, for 15 years, a competitive tennis player. Then like you said, I got the Division I full ride scholarship for a university in Virginia, and I got my degree in psychology there. But I mean, I didn't just go into psychology. I got psychology for a personal reason. I wanted to understand people and interactions. I was homeschooled till high school, and I had a lot of trouble like connecting with people. And so that was kind of on a personal note. I wanted to study psychology because I wanted to understand how people understand each other and what makes them tick. And so I did that. And then I went back I got 3 tennis coaching licenses. So I'm actually through the USPTA, which is now the RSPA, and 2 other tennis coaching licenses for professional tennis training. And then I became a tennis director in Virginia. And I was in the tennis industry, and I won a national award actually as a tennis coach. And 2 regional awards.
I'm not surprised.
I just shoot for the stars, girl. At anything that I dive into, I want to be number one. I was top 5 in Florida growing up as a competitive tennis player. I was top 50 in the nation. I've beaten world Grand Slam winners. Sloane Stephens won the US Open, and recently, Danielle Collins, I used to play her all the time in Florida growing up, and she won the Miami Open this year. I think it was this year.
God.
And that I think she made like $2 million from that tournament. And I was like cheering her on. I was like, yeah, girls from Florida. But I got injured when I was younger, and so I wasn't able to go down that route toward professional tennis. But I wanted to see if I wanted to be a coach, and so I got into coaching, and I thought that was going to be my my career. And then I got this national award, and it was a wake up call for me, actually, because I did not see myself after I got this huge achievement. I was like, I don't see myself doing this for the next 30, 40 years.
Mhm.
Although I love tennis, I still love tennis to this day. I'll still play, occasionally. But I wanted to become a businesswoman. I wanted to build businesses. I wanted to do something that would change the world. And being a very competitive person with my background in tennis, I started this social media marketing company, and I did a lot of learning by doing, the school of hard knocks starting off. I read a lot of books. I watched YouTube videos. That's how I learned in the beginning. And I did some courses online. And that's how I got my small beginnings, was helping small businesses. And that company had many different names. Now it's called Beks Media since 2019. But I actually got into what I'm doing now because I was going and trying to find leads in Las Vegas. My parents invited me to this event, an investment conference in Las Vegas in 2019. And that's where I met this German guy, this
Oh my
crazy
goodness.
German guy. And he couldn't speak any English. I couldn't speak any German, but somehow it was like an energy connection, and we were communicating with Google Translate. And I was like, oh yeah, no, technology these days, we can make anything work. And so, one thing led to another, and I'm getting an invitation to become his business partner and move to Europe. So I sold everything. And granted, all of this is happening. I'm going through a divorce. Okay. I was married, going through a divorce in 2019, 2018. And so I just sold everything. I had a house, I had a car, I had, my job as a tennis instructor, which I had already quit. Actually, they were looking for someone to replace me. And anyway, so that's how I was able to go over to Europe. I got the invitation to work in the blockchain industry, which I was like, I don't know anything about. I mean, my dad told me about Bitcoin in 2018, and we kind of got into it. But I mean, I'm not in the technical space. I don't know anything, but I'm up for the challenge. That's
Goodness. Yeah.
my perspective on life. Is if there's
Yeah.
a challenge and it interests me, go for it. Why not?
Your mindset. Yeah.
So that's how I was able to, that there was the European connection for me.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you want me to keep going, because there's a lot more.
It's fascinating. I actually do want you to keep going because I think what you're doing here is revealing the mindset that it takes in order for us as women who are looking to grow and scale our businesses. It's the challenges that we face, and then the way that we think about those challenges and the actions that we take in the face of those challenges that is the difference maker. So I would love for you to keep going because I know that your at least your MBA story and where you are right now, it sort of starts then. It starts in 2019. So you're over in Germany and you decide to go into business with this person that you cannot communicate with yet, except for on Google Translate. And it's at that time that you decide that you really want to dive headfirst into business, even though you've had a lot of experience starting your own company.
Yeah, and that was kind of like an opportunity for me, because I was at like a turning point in my life. I had won this national award. I was the top of my, industry. Technically, you could say that, as a very young lady as a tennis coach.
Yeah.
And I totally turned my back on that life, because I was like, you know what? I see the bigger picture. I see long term for what I want for my future, and I want to go the business route. And so when I got the opportunity to go to Europe and work with this blockchain company and do marketing, which I had been training for the last few years, I was like, yes, like this is what I need to do. This is my opportunity. This is like God, this is like the sign from the universe, telling me this is my next step. And so, yeah, it was just like a crazy thing how it just happened. And so I'm in Europe, and my partner and that company that we originally were starting with, it shut down. It didn't work out. There were like 1 million people involved, literally 1 million people. And the company ended up going under, which is a lot of crypto companies, let's be honest, in the early stages in like 2017, 2018. So we actually got together with some other partners, and we started our own blockchain company in Switzerland. After about a year, I became the CEO of that company and one of the founders. It was not the plan. That was not the
Yeah.
plan. I just happened to see an opportunity and I'd be like, you know what? I am a person that will go for it. I have the knowledge. I have the skill sets. I'm not an expert, but I can manage people. I've been a tennis director. I have these skill sets that are very important for business, professionalism, discipline, not giving up, finding a way. If there's a will, there's a way. And and so I very quickly rose to becoming a founder. And there were 6 founders in this company, and they were all much older than me and all men, German
Mm.
men. I was actually the only woman out of like 30 people in the company. So it was very interesting position to be in
Yeah.
because I became a founder out of necessity because I had actually helped raise several $1 million at that point for the company. So that's why I was able to have this position because the old CEO got sick and had to leave, and then there was restructuring, and so I all of a sudden I came into this position of power, and out of like really coming from being in the tennis industry for 15 years, and
Right.
I'm asking myself, there must be a reason why I'm here. There must be like that, like there is a reason for this. Like this is my next thing. And so I started thinking about, I need to know more about business. I need to have more knowledge about what I am doing. How does a business work? How does a business grow? How do we fix this? What is the right way to do finance and accounting? What is the right way to do management and all of these different things? And that's when I started thinking about going back to school. And this
Can I
was
stop you for 1 second because you had run your own business, and I don't know if you had a staff or anything like that, but this business that you're talking about in Switzerland is a much bigger business. Obviously, you raised millions of dollars, so it's a larger entity.
right,
And
right.
and so even though you knew how to sort of operate the smaller business that was your own consulting business working with small businesses, this was an entirely different
Oh yeah,
proposition
whole new
altogether.
level, whole new
Yeah.
level. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's why you felt like you needed some more fundamental business operating principles.
Yeah, there were so many people involved and so much money involved that I felt like it was bigger than me. And
Mm,
I'm a type of person, I was always number 1. I was always the best. I was always the champion in my tennis. That's my tennis brain.
yeah.
And when I feel like, that the thoughts that creep, even though, you're really good at what you do, you still have this imposter syndrome. If you have ever changed a career, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This imposter syndrome that creeps up, and like, people will call you out to be like, well, you don't really know this because you don't have the education or you don't have the whatever. And I'm like, well, I did raise several $1 million for my direct contacts, from direct
Yeah.
sales, from social media marketing, which I learned on my own. Do I need a degree for that? I have the results, I have the whatever. But I think especially I feel like maybe it's as a woman, I do feel like there is like this stereotype that it's like we have to prove ourselves in some way. Like we can't just walk in a room and be taken seriously. Like we have to have a doctorate, we have to have an MBA, we have to have like, I don't know, we have to have a big name corporation and under our belt that we worked as a manager for before someone's like, oh yeah, she's good at what she does.
Yeah. And
Um,
plus the results, like and of course sweeping statements. Men don't always have to have all of those other credentials alongside of them if they get the results. That's all that really matters, right?
I think it's maybe not always the woman thing, but it's because I think the young men also deal with the same problem. I
Yeah.
think it's also like it's if you're young and a
Mhm.
woman, it's like a double whammy
Yeah.
that you just have to really make sure people know who you are and prove yourself, and you cannot let your guard down. So I think like if you're a man and you're older, you're automatically respected immediately. Like in the first impression, it's the respect factor. Where if you're like a young woman like me walking in a room, especially with like my pink lipstick and my cute little outfit on, it's like, oh, who is she? Is she the secretary? you know?
Right. Oh god.
So yeah, that was kind of the hurdle I had to get over mentally. I think it was a mental hurdle because not everyone thinks that about me. I'm sure not everyone did, but I know for a fact there were a lot of scenarios I had walked into rooms and I had to fight for my seat at the table. So even though I was a CEO, even though I had raised millions of dollars, like even though I'd switched my career and done all these things, I knew I was good, but not everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And that's okay, to have that. It's business, right? You got to
Yeah.
sometimes fight for your seat at the table. So we're ready to talk about how I stumbled upon Rice University, how I got into MBA.
Yes. 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 Let's
So
go.
yeah, so I was in this position and I was like wanting to learn more. Like I wanted that foundation, like a traditional education. And actually my ex, that I'm divorced now, my ex was like highly discouraging me from going back to school. He had like all these student loans and everything. He was like, don't go back to school. Like you don't need it. Nobody needs it. And I'm just like, I always felt like I feel like I need to go back to school. Like, if you have something in your gut or
Yeah.
in your spirit that like tells you this is the way, what I need to do, eventually it's going to
This is
come
the
out.
way. Yeah.
It's going to show its little evil head at some point in your life. So I was like, I think this is what I need to do. And so I talked to my partner. So this business partner that I had met in Las Vegas, it turned into more than a business partner. He is
Yes.
now my life partner. And I'm so happy about that. Yes. The European connection. It wasn't, honestly, it was not like that in the beginning, but it developed into that. And so I was talking to Ferry Doon about, should I go back to school? It's a lot of money, it's time. It's like, and I told him everything. And I was like, but I need your support. Like, I need you to be like on board with this because I'm going to be up nights and weekends are going to be like like we're not going to be able to do anything. Like I'm going to be studying. It's going to be like a part-time job. And he was fully supportive. Like we talked about all of the pros and cons. And we agreed this is like the thing I needed. This was like my next thing I needed to do. So I started applying I always started looking for the right school that would be the good match. And I wanted to do something with marketing because I'm interested in marketing. I have my marketing company, but I also wanted a business factor and I wanted a master's degree or a doctorate because I had already gotten my bachelor's of science in psychology. So I did some research and I found that Carnegie Mellon was a good school and also Rice University. I heard a lot of good things actually because of my tennis. Some of my tennis friends from university told me that Rice was an amazing school. They're from California, and it is a really amazing school, over 100 years old, and they were one of the top MBA programs for marketing and finance, which is what I'm also in blockchain. And number one for entrepreneurship.
Yes.
So I applied to those two schools and I did not get into Carnegie Mellon. They denied me. I don't know why, but their loss.
Yes.
And then Rice accepted me and I was over the moon. I was like, you know what? I don't like Pennsylvania anyway. I like Texas.
Exactly. Yes.
I like the culture in Texas. I think that's fun. And I knew like after thinking about it, I was like, I think this is the school for me. I didn't even apply to any more schools after that. I was like, you know what? I have a good feeling about Rice and they are top in all of these different categories for online accredited MBA programs. So that was also really important to me having an accredited program because I might get my doctorate at some point after this. Even though I'm done, I'm going to take a break now.
Please. you, you
Yeah.
just graduated
Oh, I
yesterday,
know.
basically.
Yes, it really was like last week.
Yes.
So I got into that and I was so happy. And actually, I was in Turkey. So I applied in France. I was actually in this small town called Baldenheim. There's like 1,000 people that live there. And I applied and I got into Rice in France. And then I went to Turkey because my partner is Turkish, half Turkish. And we were in this Turkish apartment when I did my GRE and I did all of like the testing and stuff. And I actually got all of the things together. So, and then in Germany was where I actually did the majority of my classes. So I was kind of all over the place, but
And you're not in Germany anymore.
no, now I'm in Florida just for the summer. And then I'm going back to Germany because that's where I am living full time in Berlin right now and probably going to be moving to Switzerland at some point.
Okay.
Trying to find a place is really hard, and Switzerland is so small.
Yes.
So, but I will be planning to do 6 months in Europe, 6 months in the US because I have my bit. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah. And so thank you so much for sharing all of that. It's so incredible. I did want to just touch on one thing. I find it fascinating that there's some type of something that's either in us or maybe it's the universe that speaks to us because you absolutely could have had a very beautiful, lucrative career as a tennis coach and something said, "No, no, that's not for you." And you knew it and you listened to it. I'm sure that there were so many people that were saying, "What are you doing?" So where do you think that that comes from? Do you think that's divine? Do you think that there's some unconscious something brewing? What do you think that is?
I totally think it's like an intuition thing. It's like you have to have a connection to your inner voice. So
Mm.
this is what I have really been working on myself is blocking out outside influences and
Mhm.
really getting super I'm very good at getting super laser focused on my voice and my what I want for my life because
Mm.
everyone's going to tell you what you should do. Your husband's going to tell you, what your partner's going to tell you, your mom's going to tell you, your brother and sister are going to tell you, your coworkers are going to tell you, your boss is going to tell you, your friends are going to tell you what you're supposed to do. At the end of the day, none of that matters because
Hard.
they have to
Yeah.
live their life and they have to
Yeah.
make their own, they have to go to sleep at night and be okay with their decisions. But you have to find your own path and what I have really, especially with social media, it's hard to do that. So I started out and I follow this influencer, Rachel Oust. She's in like New Zealand or Australia. Rachel Oust is a minimalist.
Mm.
I stumbled upon her and I got really into minimalism in 2017. And I still, to this day, am very into it. Reduced my clothes by like 90%, reduced what
Mm.
things I own by 90%. Marie Kondo is another great person in minimalism and like, what does it spark? Does it spark joy?
Enjoy.
But
Yeah.
like for me, I think maybe it's an American thing, but I had to remove these distractions,
Yeah.
like these things in my life and these voices and this was impacting me. It was making me confused.
Yes.
I lived a very confused life for a couple of years. And
Mhm.
then I stumbled upon minimalism and I got laser focused because I was
Mm.
able to cut everything out. I was on focus pills. I took Adderall. I took all of those focus medication for years. It really helped me because all the doctors said I had all these problems, and I was like, I do not claim that. I do not claim
Mm.
that. I think everyone learns differently. Everyone thinks differently. Again, back to the psychology degree.
Yeah.
But I had to I had to do self-discovery. I had to figure out what works for me. And once I got laser focused, I got into minimalism. I was able to block out the voices. I got clarity on who I am and what I'm supposed to do.
Ooh. Yeah, I think that is so powerful because that's your guidepost. And
Mhm.
that's when you know that the steps that you're taking are in the direction of your dreams and for your higher self. And not everybody needs to understand. And this, I do believe, is one of those critical success factors, especially for women when we're doing so much for everybody else all the time. And we have a hard time tuning in to that higher self.
Mhm.
So I think that's one of the things that you possess and that you've cultivated that makes you successful and allows you to make what others might see as, these bold moves, these risky decisions. For
Totally.
you, they're really not. They're guided by something that is so much greater, and that is probably why you have the vision for your future that you do. And so, what is that vision for your future? Where are you going now that you have this incredible degree
Well,
and all this experience?
I think that is like, I think know thyself. What is that, Socrates or something? Like
Yep.
it's so like undervalued, I think,
Yes.
like emotional intelligence,
Yes.
knowing who you are. Because in this crazy, chaotic world that we live in, it is very easy to get confused. I think a lot of
Mm.
people have an identity issue. I actually am writing a book about it. That's one of my
Ooh,
future things.
Rebecca, I love this.
I cannot reveal the name of this book because I need
Okay.
to like copyright it first.
Yes.
I'm in the middle. Okay, so the future, I'm in the middle of a manuscript. I've written half a manuscript about the last 10 years of my life. It's mainly around identity, and then I have another book in my brain that I need to get on
Mm,
paper or on
mm,
written form on my Word document, which is about identity. I think that the country, the USA has an identity problem. I think a lot of businesses have an identity problem, and I think majority of people need to take the time to know to discover who they are and understand who they are. And we just don't take the time because we're trying to make money, we're trying to survive out in this crazy economy. So it's easier said than done. So what my mission is, my goal is, I'm taking this MBA. I'm so happy I'm finished. So happy. It's like a huge monkey off my back.
Yep.
I can breathe. I also, this blockchain company I've been talking about, it was sold in January. So yay, exit strategies.
Congratulations. Amazing.
Thank you. So another monkey off my back because even though I was really happy with growing that company, it was a great experience. It came with a lot of stress and a lot of negatives, miscommunications, cross border between German language and American culture. And so I didn't always see eye to eye with my partners. So I'm actually really happy that I'm kind of back just focusing on my Beks Media marketing
Mm,
agency.
yeah.
So right now I'm in Florida. I am like hardcore client acquisition moment because
Yep.
now I'm like done with that company I was the founder for, and I can really get focused on this.
Yep.
And I developed a digital marketing course, as you said, and so I am going to start doing like some masterminds here in Florida. My goal, honestly, like I said, I want to be here 6 months and be in Europe 6 months. I have a key client right now in Berlin. It's like a $500 million real estate development project that is being tokenized. So Bex Media is the leading marketing agency for this project, and we're launching like right now. It's like we're in the middle of this craziness. It's really exciting, super exciting. It's probably one of the coolest projects I have ever even been on. And the really cool thing I love about it is they are helping housing be affordable using this tokenization, meaning that they are building data centers. And if you know anything about data centers, they're like everything for AI and like, every message you send, it's like all stored somewhere in like a data center. So they are building data centers together with like apartment complexes or the business centers. And they're able to subsidize the cost of living because the data centers bring in so much revenue that they're actually able to reduce the price of rent and reduce the cost of when you want to buy an apartment. So it's only for the token holders. So if you buy these tokens, then you're able to be a part of this project, making housable. They're saying making housable affordable again. It's like MAGA, but the German version with housing. Anyway, so that is like this project that is like my key client right now. That is in my future. Books are in my future. I hope speaking events are in my future. I really want to be like a motivational speaker. I want to help people. Like I have this media company, but I also do consulting with businesses that maybe not able to afford. That's why I made this digital marketing course because not everyone can afford like an agency to do their social media. So I built this course to help people for like 45 bucks a month to be able to learn how to do it themselves. And they get into my like group chats and I help them troubleshoot social media stuff, marketing stuff. And now it's even better because I'm an MBA, so I can even help them more. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, I love it. I mean, wow, you have so much going on. And it's incredible, actually, that some of these things that had taken up a lot of your time are now cleared from your plate so that you can focus on this next level up. And I do think that being driven by identity is something that women, we're very focused on women entrepreneurs here at
Mhm.
the She Leads podcast and She Leads Media in general. Women really need to understand what our identity is and what that means in today's world and not allow others to put their definition of what our identity should be upon us. We need to 100% reclaim that and start living that and living, I think, maybe more. I don't know what the word is necessarily, but we need to definitely have more of an impact because the things that we think about and who we are is what the world needs, and there's value there. And I don't think that there has been enough recognition of the value that women truly bring to every aspect of life. So I'm really focused on, making sure that we not only, grow these businesses, but we do grow them past that $1 million mark because when we have money, we do good things with that money and we help humanity. We're not just, like you're saying, you're focused on minimalism. We all need to sort of focus on minimalism so that we can take that money that would have gone toward buying all those things that we don't need,
Starbucks.
right?
Yeah,
And
Chipotle.
and yeah, and putting them toward really helping the planet, people, humanity, all of it. So I absolutely love the work that you're doing, and I can't wait to read your books and join your course. I mean, how can people join your course? How can people get to know you? I know that you've had so much success, especially recently on YouTube. Can you talk a little bit about all of that and how that came about?
Yeah, so right before I sold my company, I Ferry doing my partner, he has a friend that was also doing similar stuff in that I am with marketing, but he is like a specialist in building courses and he makes all of his money with building courses and selling online digital products. And he makes like, I don't even know, like six figures a month. He's one
Wow.
of those like high earners, like really he's one of the best in the German speaking market for digital products. So he saw something in me, which I was like, wow, this is amazing. And he invested in becoming like my partner in a way. And he helped me build this sales funnel, this marketing funnel to sell my digital product. So I recorded all these videos to do the digital marketing course. And together we have this product where we're helping people to learn to do their own social media and even to create their own channels that produce passive income. So that's kind of like my whole thing is like you got to have six streams of income in this. I mean, if you're trying to be successful, you can't just have one side hustle. You got to have like six. So that's really my focus right now and also my focus on helping others. So because I have this course, I started my personal brand, but it's kind of together. So Beks Media is my agency, and Rebekah Jenkins Consulting is a product of Beks Media. And I started a YouTube channel this January, Rebekah.Jenkins. And it's like connected to my TikTok and all of the Beks Media channels, which if you look up Beks Media, you'll find me. And it actually we were able to get 5 million views in about a month. And now we have 3,000 subscribers on that channel. And yeah, I'm still posting every day, educating mainly about like the tools that I use to automate content creation, tools I use to find viral video ideas. I'm focused on short form video. So if you're like a content creator or a small business owner, you got to be making short form video. Like
Yeah.
I don't care how you
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Whip your phone out and start talking in the phone. Like that is the world we live in. People consume short form video at a rapid pace, like crazy. They love short form video, and it needs to be like in the first 3 seconds. You got to catch them. So that's what I've been doing, and I'm on the road to 100,000 subscribers. That's my goal. Either this year or the end of this year or by next year. Like I'm like hardcore YouTuber. That's my thing because I know that I need to have a following to be in this industry. That's just the way it is. You got to have those numbers. So I feel like in a very short period of time, getting 5 million views was a success for me. And now I just need to continue to push and continue to work on that while I'm supporting and giving others tips and, helping others. Like, honestly, you're so right. Like, as a woman, I feel so compelled when I make money to help people. And I know there's a lot of, I'm from the crypto industry. I've been working in crypto since 2019 and blockchain. A lot of people that make money, men and women, they're thinking, I'm going to go buy, a Birkin bag. I'm going to buy a Lamborghini. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to buy this. But like, I'm thinking, I'm a minimalist. What do I need to buy? I don't want to buy anything, maybe a couple things just, to celebrate, but not like consumerism, not like over the top. Like, I want to leave the world a better place than when I entered it. That's my goal. That is my purpose in life.
That is so beautiful. And I hear that from women over and over again. We want to take our money and make it work for first our families, of course, right? We need to make sure that everybody's stable and happy and all of that. And we want to help our family. But then once we feel like they're good, we then can start doing other things for people that's going to have that multiplier effect. And why that is why women need access to capital and why we need to generate it on our own as well.
Mhm.
So I love that you're doing that. I love that you're educating everybody, especially women entrepreneurs, because, like you said, it's very uncomfortable, but you need to whip out that phone and start creating some compelling video. And we just need to do it. I myself am very reluctant to do it. I definitely suffer from like perfectionism and what the heck am I even going to say that is
Oh,
going to be compelling?
recovering perfectionist right here, girl.
Yeah.
I am like constantly having to like slap myself back to reality. Like, no one is perfect. No one is
Yeah.
perfect. I am so from that mindset.
Yeah. Well, so many women are
Yeah.
because and it's not because of ourselves, it's because of all the judgment from everybody else and society and all of those
Yeah.
things. But here's the message. There's a lot of messages in this conversation, but I think one of the takeaways is whip out your phone and follow Beks Media and sign up for your digital course. We'll put all of those links in the show notes so people can follow you and learn. So just thank you so much, Rebekah. Number one, for just being one of those, it's funny. I've been teaching for, I think it's almost 5 years at Rice and also at NYU. And there's always, one or two students that just from the very beginning, they stand out and I just feel so connected to them. And you are one of them. And I appreciate you so, so much. So thank you for spending time with me here today on the She Leads podcast.
The feeling is 100% mutual. You're amazing, Adrienne. I love chatting with you. Love being here on the podcast.
Yay. If this conversation moved you, inspired you, or made you think differently, please take a moment to leave a 5-star rating and review. It's not just about boosting the show, it's about amplifying the voices of women entrepreneurs who are leading with vision, building with purpose, and shaping what's next. We need more of these conversations in the world right now, don't you think? And if someone came to mind while you were listening, someone who matters to you, send this episode to them. If there's something on your mind about leadership, legacy, or what's next, I want to hear it. Head to sheleadsmedia.com/voice and leave a voice memo or note. Your insight might just help shape a future episode. Make sure to follow the show and come back next week for more conversations you won't hear anywhere else. Thank you so much for listening. This is the She Leads Podcast Network. This is the She Leads Podcast Network.